It was a warm afternoon when the screams sliced through the air like a knife. I froze at the edge of the neighborhood park, my heart hammering in my chest. My 7-year-old daughter, Lily, stood a few yards away, her small wrists bound by coarse rope. Her green eyes, usually so bright, were wide with fear, tears streaking her cheeks as she struggled to break free. Towering over her was Susan Harper, the newly elected HOA president, her voice shrill as she berated my little girl, calling her worthless. The word hit me like a punch. Lily, my brave girl who'd fought through physical challenges since birth, was being humiliated in front of everyone. Rage surged through me, hot and unstoppable. I sprinted toward them, my shoes slipping on the grass. Lily saw me, and her face lit up with a flicker of hope. The ropes were knotted so tightly her hands were turning pink. Susan gripped the ropes and like she was taming a wild animal, screaming about how Lily had touched the HOA's precious fountain, Leah vying smudges. Lily's right leg, supported by a lightweight brace, made balance tricky, but to Susan, that was no excuse. "Let her go," I barked, my voice shaking with a fury I rarely let loose. As a district attorney, I'm trained to stay calm in the tensest courtrooms, but seeing my daughter bound like a criminal snapped something inside me. Susan flinched but didn't back down. She planted her fists on her hips, her designer workout clothes and tight bun screaming arrogance. "You need to teach your kids some respect," she spat, while vying the rope. "That fountain's worth more than you can imagine. She can't just touch it." I stepped closer, my voice low and steady. "Untie her. Now, you have no right to touch her." Susan scoffed, but my toner, maybe the fire in my eyes, made her drop the rope. Lily stumbled forward, and I caught her, easing her onto the grass. My hands trembled as I worked the knots loose, the rough strands Leah vying red marks on her skin. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" I whispered. She shook her head, sobbing in short, heart-wrenching gasps. Susan stood there, arms crossed, her face a mask of self-righteous indignation. "If you can't control her, I will," she declared, loud enough for the growing crowd to hear. As HOA president, it's my job to keep order. Kids who break rules get disciplined. I cradled Lily's wrists, rubbing the chafed skin, my mind already racing through legal statutes, child endangerment, assault, false imprisonment. But I held back, knowing losing my temper would only weaken my case. Susan rolled her eyes. "Call the cops if you want. They'll back me up. This is private property, and we keep it pristine. If your kid can't respect that, maybe she doesn't belong here." That word "belong" saw cut deep. Lily's sobs sharpened, her fear of being unwanted because of her disability breaking my heart. I helped her stand, making sure she was steady, then turned to Susan. "We'll settle this," I said, my voice icy. "But touch my daughter again, and you'll regret it." She laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Scare me? Please. I've dealt with angry parents before. I'm here to protect property values, not coddle kids who don't know their place." With that, she stormed off, Leah vying me seething. I tucked the rope into my pocket as he vy'd Denke and walked Lily home, her small hand clinging to mine. At our modest 2-story house, my wife, Emma, saw us through the window and rushed out, her face paling at Lily's tear-streaked cheeks. "What happened?" she demanded. I sat on the porch swing, Lily curling into Emma's lap, and recounted the nightmare in a hushed voice. Emma's eyes blazed with fury. "We'll make her pay," she said, kissing Lily's hair. "No, HOA bully gets to do this to our girl." My phone buzzed with work reminders, but my mind was elsewhere. As a district attorney, I knew how to build a case, and Susan had just made a grave mistake. I called the local precinct, explaining the incident. Given my position, they sent an impartial officer. 2 neighbors had witnessed parts of the ordeal. One saw Susan dragging Lily by the rope. Another heard her cruel remarks about Lily's uselessness. The officer took notes, and when he asked if we'd press charges, I glanced at Emma, then at Lily, who clutched her teddy bear on the couch. "Yes," I said, my voice calm but firm. "She assaulted a disabled minor. We're pursuing this." The officer nodded, promising to file the report. Susan had no idea who she crossed. That night, Emma sang Lily to sleep. The faint rope burns on her wrists, a stark reminder of the cruelty she'd endured. At the kitchen table, I spread out legal notes: assault laws, child endangerment statutes, HOA bylaws. Emma gripped my hand. "She can't wiggle out of this," she said. "If we let her, she'll target someone else." I nodded. "I can't prosecute my self-conflict of interest, but I'll make sure my team has everything they need." The next day, neighbors flooded my phone with stories of Susan's tyranny. Petty fines for chalk drawings, cameras spying on kids, even berating a mom whose autistic son walked too slowly. I documented every account, building a dossier of her abuses. The local news caught wind of the story via a neighbor's social media post, framing it as an HOA official assaulting a disabled child. Susan fired back with a mass email, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, denying she'd tied Lily's hands. The lie fueled my anger, but it also galvanized the community. At the upcoming HOA meeting, Susan planned to push stricter rules, including limits on special accommodations for disabled residents. It was audacious, but it gave us a chance to confront her publicly. The community clubhouse was packed, the air thick with tension. Susan sat at a table, flanked by uneasy board members, her blazer and tight bun projecting authority. Emma and I walked in, drawing nods from neighbors. Susan tapped the mic, rattling off her new rules: restricted play hours, fees for ramps, super VY shown for disabled kids. The crowd murmured in outrage. When she opened the floor, I stood, my heart pounding. "I'm to VYD Carter," I said, my voice carrying. "I'm the father of the girl you tied up last week, the one you called worthless." A gasp rippled through the room. Susan's smug smile faltered. "That's not what happened," she said coolly. "I redirected a child to facing property. Assault? Exaggeration." I held up the rope. "This tied my daughter's wrists. I have a police report and witnesses. You can't deny the EVY Denke." The crowd erupted shouts of "she's a child," and "you can't tie kids up." Susan slammed the table. "I won't tolerate slander. This is HOA business." I paused, letting her squirm. "It's not just HOA business. It's criminal. You'll hear from the district attorney's office soon." Her sneer faltered. "I'm terrified," she mocked. "My connections will handle this. Your out-of-control kid needs discipline." The crowd roared in protest. A mother whose daughter used a walker stood. "I saw you brag about putting that girl in her place, Susan. We're done with your control." A board member, sweating, grabbed the mic. "We never approved tying kids' hands or banning disabled residents. This isn't what we stand for." Susan's face reddened. "I have authority to interpret bylaws," she shrieked. Emma stepped forward, trembling. "You can't treat kids like nuisances, especially disabled ones. This isn't your kingdom." Susan's eyes darted between us, sensing the tide turning. I seized the moment. "I'm to VYD Carter, district attorney for this county. My office knows what you did and will prosecute. Tying up my daughter wasn't an HOA issue, it was child abuse." The room fell silent, Susan's bravado crumbling. She sputtered, "You can't threaten me. My lawyers will ruin you." I stayed calm. "You tied up a child. No lawyer can spin that. You're not above the law." The crowd exploded calls for her resignation, demands for a vote. A board member proposed Remo VYing Susan as president. Despite her screams of being framed, the board voted her out, effective immediately. Susan stormed out, vowing lawsuits. Neighbors swarmed us, some apologizing for not acting sooner. That night, we told Lily Susan was gone, and her relief broke my heart. The emotional scars lingered, but we vowed to heal them. Susan's downfall was swift. Witnesses testified, and my office charged her with misdemeanor child abuse and assault, with a possible hate crime enhancement. She claimed I'd framed her, but the EVY dense witnesses, rope burns, her own email sealed her fate. The judge sentenced her to probation, community care VYC, and counseling, her reputation ruined. The HOA rescinded her fines, formed an accessibility committee, and added a plaque by the fountain. All are welcome. Kids played freely, and Lily, hesitant at first, touched the fountain's water, her smile a quiet triumph. This wasn't just about Susan's punishment. It was about reclaiming dignity for Lily and every family she'd bullied. The neighborhood became a true community, united against prejudice. Standing by that fountain, I realized justice wasn't just legal, it was human. What would you have done if you saw a child tied up like that? Should HOA leaders face harsher penalties for abusing power? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you believe in standing up for what's right, and subscribe for more stories of justice.